In this video, we're going to look at how to host the human resources databases for your second assignment in the cloud. So this would be the recommended, as it will reduce the likelihood of any connection problems that I'm going to get with your assignment. So how do we go about doing this? Well, we're going to look at a service, and it is a free service on freemysqlhosting.net. So you guys will have to set up your free account, provide your credentials, and then log in. Okay, so you'll be confronted with this screen, and you'll see that we only have one database available to us. So we might be using two tables, or two databases is the employees database, and we also want to have some kind of user table. So you can put that all in the same database if you like. So we've just created a database, and these will be your credentials that you will use. So you have your hosting, your database name, your username, and the database password, which will be created for you. You'll have to wait for this. If I refresh my page now, it may have already sent. You'll see here, check your email. So in your email, you'll have the password for this. In the next part of the video, I will actually be using a different database name and different credentials. So we have phpMyAdmin now set up, and we have our database here. Now this is the name of our database. It's not called employees, so we have to use this new name. We can import it into phpMyAdmin. There has to be a way to do it, but I had previously done this, or prior to this video, I tried it, and I was running through several issues there, and I think it would be easier to do it through a program called MySQL Workbench. Now there's a couple of things we need to change in our SQL file, and I'm going to explain to you what you need to change. So you need to alter this SQL file to be specific for your environment, for your hosting platform. So I'm going to download this file, and I have it here now on my desktop, and I'll just show you what the main file here, the employees.sql file, this is what you want to run. You can see here that it says drop database if it exists, right? Now in this free service, you're not allowed drop databases. Okay, it's just a restriction. We don't have full rights, so I have to comment this out, and I can share this with you on Moodle. We're not going to create a database, because we have to work with the database that we have been given, and then use employees database. We can't use this employees database anymore because we don't have one called employees. So what I can do is I can use this one. So I can share with you the file that will work for my specific environment. But this here, then this one here, you have to use your database credentials. Okay, so you need to replace this one. The usual way to import these files is through import, and we choose a file, but it created a lot of problems, and there's several reasons for it. The reason being that it's, first of all, it's quite a large file. Secondly, it is including a lot of dump files, right? Dump files are all the records, as I mentioned, and so they are creating a lot of error messages. So we are going to use a program called MySQL Workbench, and if you look up MySQL Workbench download, it is the first one that you can choose. Then you can choose for your operating system which one you want to download. Now I've got it downloaded here, obviously, and what you do when you are on the very first screen is you have to make some kind of connection, right? A connection to the database. So I want to connect to this one here. So how do I go about doing that? Well, I click a plus sign to create a new connection, and I'm going to say free MySQL, because it can really be whatever you want. And I'm going to connect to this host. The port will leave at 3306. The username is going to be this, and then we'll have to you put in our password. Okay, so you'll be asked to put in your password when I click on OK. And so I click to connect, put in my password, and you'll get this warning message, and it's to do with different versions of MySQL. The version that they're using here might not be compatible. It is compatible, but it might not be the best fit for this version of Workbench that I currently have, and that you'll have as well. Okay, so continue anyway, it'll work fine, and we'll see here now that I am now connected to this database. Okay, this here matches this up here. So now if I want to run that script, I go up to File and you run SQL script, and then I'm going to navigate to that file on my desktop. That is the Human Resources MySQL file. Click on Open, and over here you have to choose the default schema. Click on Run. So the second thing that the free service doesn't like is create or replace views. So views are a security thing, and so for you guys I will share this file and this will all be commented out. And then the last one that it doesn't like is this flush logs. Again, it's all due to the restrictions on the free service. So I'm going to go and select this database, set as default schema, and I'm going to run that script that is now shared with you on Moodle, and it's the Human Resources MySQL, and I'll call this the hosting one. Okay, so open that one. You have to select your default schema, and we only have one option. Click on Run, and if all goes well, you would just see finished executing script. So now if I right click and refresh all, I'll be able to see here that I have all my tables, and if I click on this button over here, this is the Lightning. Is essentially just executing, selecting everything from the departments table. This one here, if I click this, will select everything from the department employee table, and so on. Okay, now you will see this happen, and see this department manager. If I click on that and I select everything from that table, it's currently empty. Now it takes a while to populate, so I would give that a moment, and this should be here in a while. So it's currently just loading it up in this on this platform. So now if I go to follow this link for phpMyAdmin, I should see that my tables are now in here. Okay, so let's click on databases. Click on my database, and in here, well, you should see the different tables. Okay, and we can see here on the right hand side that all these rows or records have been populated. And see over here, department, I think it was this one here that wasn't there a second ago. If I go back to department manager, I can see they're all here. Okay, so it takes a little while. That's it. So we've loaded it now in this hosting platform for specifically for MySQL. It's not the web page hosting service, but if you connect with this with your web page, even if you don't have your web page hosted but you connect to this platform, it'll save a lot of hassle and difficulties for me to connect to your database. So I highly encourage you to use this method. If you have any questions on MySQL Workbench, please ask me in class. And the next video I'll go through how to connect this to this database and display some of that information in a web page.